This is the May 22nd meeting of the Monroe County Board of Health. I'm calling the meeting to order. It's a public meeting. We're going to discuss some issues surrounding contracts. The first order of business is the contract of Dr. Britton. This has been developed by the legal department, and he has seen it. And we all read it, I assume.
Yep.
Okay, does anybody have any comments or corrections or anything they think is a problem with the contract?
The corrections been made? For names?
Jamie
Thank
says
you.
they have,
Thank you.
But not on the copy of the packet.
But on
I
the
did have a
actual-
question.
Yes.
I asked
No,
Lee
I don't
about,
got
is
it.
this,
Can we, I'll pay attention. Sarah, can we pay attention?
is this one contract that's gonna be covering the health department and futures, or is there's gonna be?
No,
two
This is
separate
just the
contracts?
health department contract.
Okay, so we'll still be
This is-
invoicing and paying him
Yeah, this is the
separately,
health officer contract separately from
futures.
the futures, yes, as I understand it. You can double check with
That's as I
legal,
understand.
but that's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is Dr. Wren, have you removed him from the list? Or-
Dr. Brennan resigned from the board.
Yeah, but he's.
I
part
know,
of the
I don't know
signatories.
why. So there.
This has been updated with legal, correct?
Yes,
Amy?
Dr. still was on here, not for a while, but I did last.
Yeah, he resigned.
He
about
should
3
be
weeks ago.
removed From the list.
And we
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
actually have to sign this, we found out, so we
Yeah.
don't know why our names are here.
Oh, I was asked to have the board vote and accept the contract, even though we don't legally have to. So we're going to do that,
Okay,
unless anybody has any problems with it.
no, it was just, they, names were misspelled and we had Dr. Wren on there.
Yeah.
That's the questions I had.
Yeah, I think that I'm the only, I don't even know if I even have to sign it, but I'll sign it, and then I don't think everybody else has to sign it. Since we don't actually have to officially approve it. So, but anyway, I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract as presented to us.
To entertain the contract as written.
Okay, and a second?
All second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Now. This is, so are we gonna do the help, this one too, the administrative assistant one?
yes,
Okay, so the next thing in your packet, I believe, will be the contract about the job review of the administrative assistant. And what has happened as things evolve over time, that, the current administrative assistant, who is Jamie over here in the corner, is doing a lot more than her job description just describes basically, right?
correct.
Right. And so what is,
So there are some modifications that you'll see, in bolded on page, 2 that more accurately kind of represent the overall duties.
which is assist with preparation of annual budgets, including assisting with authorizing and monitoring the preparation of payroll, vendor claims, purchase orders, transfer of funds, and additional appropriations, conducts fiscal and management research, and compiles data for comparative analysis, ensuring the department directives are met accordingly. Sounds good. Anybody, assist with running financial reports as necessary for invoicing grant reimbursement claims, coordinates ongoing staff development and related education, ensuring proper maintenance of professional status and fulfillment of individual improvement plans. And this goes on and on, doesn't it? Assist
Yeah,
with
It's a
supporting
lot
the
of duties.
yeah, well, James is doing a lot more than her original job description. I'd just like to point that out. Assist with supporting department goals by acting as department liaison as directed by the health administrator, able to attend meetings in absence of the health administrator as directed by necessary. May serve as a public speaker for meetings such as directed by the health administrator, execute special projects as directed by the health administrator, coordinates department computer use and technical services, serves as a troubleshooter when problems arise, and reports unsolved problems to technical services department. Uploads and updates department reports and inspection documents to OpenGov system, assists with updating the GIS system with department reports, analyzes and researches laws, codes, procedures with required documentation and retention, able to serve as backup assistant to the financial manager during periods of time off and or vacancies. All those I guarantee you she's been doing because I've heard about them.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is
The
that
other
the
the
bulk
other
of
thing
it
that
then?
was listed on page 2 is just the increased volume of work that changes because of SB4. And
So
the-
more work may be coming.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
oh,
we
Yeah.
anticipate that. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's a really
Okay.
important
So,
piece of this. as well.
To me, this looks very reasonable and well justified and like a whole lot of work and. If anybody wants a motion, I'm happy to make one.
sounds good to me.
I move we accept the job classification for the administrative assistant as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, Steve, a second. Now, what, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Now, what happens is that Lori and Dr. Britton will take this to the council and they decide what happens. We don't actually
Right.
decide what happens,
Right.
but we've given them the authority to do that.
So I asked someone who was a council member whether there is anything that helps that process along. And they suggested, yes, if members of the board actually show up
Right,
at those meetings,
yes,
it has a tremendous influence on how council acts.
yes.
So I
So
am happy to
if
go.
we get notification of when
Right.
they are
So
and I
if you
can
could-
go, I'm.
If you
happy
could
to
let
go.
us know, then we'd be happy to go to speak to. I
Yeah,
think the number of us would
or
be
at
happy to
least
do
show our
that.
faces.
Yes, but I think that, yeah, and
Is
that
that-
we've done that in the past. I agree.
We do it for budget.
We do it for budget frequently. And, but I think this is an important enough of an issue because, you know, this position is a relatively new position. It started a few years ago when we added the financial manager and got rid of the deputy health administrator. And it had a financial and an administrative assistant. And the job has certainly morphed over time. And it says, sounds like you captured it really well in here.
Yeah. Yeah. good
Okay.
job.
So you'll let us know, this is a directive, you'll let us know when this is gonna come in front of council with hopefully a little lead time so we can organize our lives and get there.
Yes, so I think the goal for the next TAC meeting is in June, so I will find that exact date and time and make sure that this will be on that agenda or find out for sure which agenda. it will be on.
And you've already looked over this with Kim, right? Kim has looked at this and,
Not, well, Kim has looked at the original one that we looked at, but Kim.
okay, so
hasn't
make sure you
looked at
review this with
comment.
Kim, just to make sure that she doesn't have any issues with it.
Yes, Molly was trying to coordinate myself and Dr. Britton to meet with her and Kim. to
Okay,
go over
good,
these.
perfect. Yeah, but I would review this just to make sure there's not any issues that we're not aware of.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So next, we have, this is the. So. Are we gonna, you're gonna update that job description for health administrator at some point too, right? But not right now. Is that true?
Whenever the health officer decides.
Okay, all right.
But yes.
Yeah, that's one of the things. And the other thing we also at some point want to do is probably update the health officer job description as well. Those both need to be updated. They haven't been updated for a really long time. And I read the health officer job description. It's not even close to what he does, so. But those are on your agenda, right? To
Yes.
update those, okay, all right. So
I
there's
believe Dr. Britton has to update mine.
I think that's true, but you can help him.
Yes.
Um,
So it looks like we have number 2 and number 4.
so we have,
on this.
wait, is there a page I'm missing?
Yeah, there's
There you go.
this.
Okay.
The action items.
Okay. So I did, okay, proposed pack, okay. Okay, so I skipped that one, all right, so. One of the things that Dr. Britton and I asked, Lori to do, we met last week, was to anticipate needs that SB 4 would be presenting to the department in terms of employment needs. Because our budget, we review the budget at our July board meeting, and then it gets presented to the council sometime after that. And so we have to get whatever things we were asking for our budget, we need to ask it, we need to have it together so we can approve it at our July board meeting, which is not long from now.
Which means anticipating what new positions she wanted in that budget.
Yeah. So based on the SB 4 requirements and departmental needs, these are the ones that she's proposing, and we can discuss it. And if we think it's different, or we want to think that we need more, we can change this. This is not etched in stone here. So FTE for EHS. Now, is that different than the one that we're right now that we have that's temporary, we want to make permanent?
So
Is
the
that-
proposal is to move this temporary into a permanent position and then also to propose.
So this is in
another.
addition to the moving. That's
Yeah.
in addition to moving the temporary to a permanent.
So which could be another temporary or could be another full-time permanent.
Okay. So this is basically. All right, and then another FTE to help with foods. Another FTE for vital records. And then. Okay, so. Explain the temporary FTE financial manager. Is it, so we have a financial manager position, but your feeling is that they're asked to do more than one person can do.
Correct.
So you're asking for another person to work with, would it be an assistant for the financial manager, or would the financial manager be divided into two different types? How is that? work
So
there?
the thought process is to divide the single position into two separate full-time positions. I think that there's room to kind of process how that would be divided up, whether it would be something that's lined out that one focuses more on grants and other tasks such as payroll and claims, and the other one focuses on, the alternative duties, whether that's something that they would kind of decide amongst themselves to split up. But there is enough financial workload, particularly with all of the changes coming with SB4, to be able to help with the transition of the budget and the fund lines that we currently have and the grant management.
So question, given that you were told by the financial manager, there's way too much work in that one job. And you need another position, and we know we're gonna have more administrative demands because of SB4. Why do you have this as a temporary? Why not have this as a regular ongoing position?
I'm worried about resistance about getting another full-time permanent. I had spoken with some of our council liaisons, and they said they would fully support, a transitional position. Maybe we should consider a contract position. My thought is we at least need something in here to help us get through 2025. I'm worried about proposing a permanent, full-time, long-term would immediately get rejected.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that does make sense too, because right now, all we know is there's 2 years of funding for SB4. So we need to plan for that period of time. So yeah, I agree. That's a good rationale.
And then kind of see where things settle,
Yeah, Yeah.
maybe.
Sarah.
So as I understood, the financial person's role, that was supposedly part-time. Is that correct? The person we had who has just left,
It's full-time.
it was,
It might have been part-time in the past, but I think it's full-time. It's full-time now.
It's currently full-time, and then
Yeah.
the plan with Penny was to get a part-time financial assistant, which I have posted for a part-time position to see if we can get some interest there, but it is a full-time position, but about 4 people doing the duties now.
because I was wondering, can we do it with a full-time and a part-time, 2 part-times? I'm just thinking in terms of what kind of resistance we may get from council. And not knowing really somebody's capabilities, how much they understand these things, how able they are to take the job on. It may well be that someone who is a hotshot in finances can do the whole thing with their eyes closed and their hands tied behind their back. We don't know that. All we know is that we had someone who really was struggling.
Pay that person.
And we're not sure yet what we're up against in terms of SB4, the changes and someone's capacity to deal with the finances and the funding and all of those pieces.
So what are you actually suggesting?
Well, I guess I'm opening this to further discussion about what are the possibilities and what do we imagine council might be more amenable to in terms of funding a position.
Well, given the reasons that the last person left, we be great to have that one financial whiz that you're talking about, but we probably can't pay them. We couldn't find, we don't have enough money to pay that person. So but we definitely need to find somebody additional, and either the part-time, and I agree with your assessment that we propose any one of two or three options, because we may, finding a permanent part-time person might also, which then if the need is shown to be there, we can eventually make that a full-time, then ask later for a full-time person.
So,
Does Dr. Britton have something he wants to say? His little hands up there.
His little hands like that.
Well, hi, just recall that the way this SB4 is funded, it's for a dollar amount for the coming year and twice that amount for the following year. So I would be inclined to ask for more rather than less.
Yeah, I think asking for it, if you don't ask for it, you're definitely not gonna get
Two-year
it.
budget or one-year budget?
Yeah, we can always ask.
And
Yeah.
so would it make sense then, since she does a one-year budget rather than a two-year budget, to maybe start out with a temporary or part-time and then next year be able to justify, because of doubling the money and the workload?
I was just asking for full-time and settling for a part-time.
well, yeah, so
That's also
I
an
mean,
option.
it's a discussion that goes on at budget, so
Sure.
it's not, it's just stone, and they, and if they block it full-time, then I think it's okay for you to say that, appreciate your thoughts, but can we think about a part-time one then, in that case? I mean, I think it's always better to ask.
The SB4 transition presents a nice opportunity to ask.
Yeah. And it's easier than to go back next year and asking for more, I would think. It's just to ask right up front.
And I can't remember what part of our SB4 funding we can use to actually help pay for any of this. Or if it's just for all of these services that we have to provide for legislation.
services.
I'm also not sure, but even with all of the services, I think even IDOH understands there will be additional administrative things. So if that has to come off of other funds other than SB4, so that the SB4 funds can be allocated toward those 60/40 services, I think that's fine. But I do think we do need to make the statement, we need this position because there's too much money, too many grant requirements to be managed under the current structure.
And our administrator can always look, a year from now and say, we could probably do with simply a part-time person in this extra role. Or, no, we need another third. financial
And we also
Yeah,
need.
yeah.
It might end up,
We don't
and
know.
we also need, yeah,
We just have no clue because
right.
it's a new world.
That's right. I'd say just go ahead. and
So do
ask
we,
for
do we
full-time.
just say we support,
Yeah, there's one more we didn't
Yeah.
talk about. One is
There's one more.
NFBFT for the school liaison public. We have a school liaison and a public health educator now. Right? You have one of each of those. So this is someone to work with them or assist them or do a separate duties. What is that all about?
So, I think my thought process is, but you had mentioned, potentially need another health educator with SB4, with the school liaison. From my understanding, that's going to be something that, health departments may, they shall have a school liaison. In my personal opinion, I wonder if we should consider kind of combining those duties. So we have a school liaison, but that is also working, doing outreach with the public health clinic, doing general public health education services.
Yeah, there are some things in SB4 that like chronic disease managed, education, some other things that we don't do right now that are included in that.
that was, and when I looked at those 60%, it seemed to me that a public health educator type position could fill a lot of those holes, like the injury prevention, the chronic disease,
Right.
the community health, the school liaison,
Violence prevention,
the
yeah.
violence prevention,
Yeah.
all of the things that we have to do that we right now don't have people
Yeah.
for.
And we do have people, they're doing other things.
But they're doing other
Yeah,
things,
they're doing
so
other
I
things
thought
right
a
now.
dedicated public health
Yeah,
educator,
But there are
kind
several
of
things.
generic,
Yeah.
who could fill many
Yeah, I think that
roles.
the point is that several things in the SB4 that we aren't doing now. That this, the money from that, but we need to have people to do it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree. Okay, so there's basically 5 additional positions we're asking for.
Well, so I think it would depend on, so if we're going to make, the current temporary, if we're gonna
I
make,
thought that was, so that was my question. Is this person asked for in addition to making it temporary permanent, or is
that's
that?
just to make the temporary.
So we're asking, so these are actually, so these are four,
permanent.
and we're asking to make the temp permanent. So that's what we've talked about before. Okay.
Correct.
So what Lori's proposing and what we need to vote on is that we make the current temporary environmental health person a permanent position, and that we add 4 other employees, 1 to foods, vital records, financial management, and school liaison health educator, 1 each for those.
I so move.
Any second?
I'll
Or
second.
seconds? All in favor, say aye.
I,
All right.
All right, so you'll include all these in the budget and
Yes.
we'll actually vote on the budget in July. Any other questions about that one? Okay. So then the last thing on your list right now is the
I gotta
adminis-
get out of here before my meter runs out.
All right, there we go. So this is my goal, to get you out before your meter runs out. One of the concerns that has come up is the fact that our health administrator, always has, but it's continuous to work well over her 35 hours that her job description pays for. And if you look at, I have not looked at these pages over here, so you have to maybe explain these time sheets to us.
Oh, sure, because I guess I have highlighted copies.
Yeah, that makes it.
So we have changed the structure. We're using an AOD, a computer system now, so it's kind of hard to track total hours, but it's listed as like non-paid hours.
So NPH is non-paid hours.
Yeah, so last week I had 13.45 non-paid hours. So
So you're
those are
saying,
kind of,
are you seeing this on this form? or-
This,
on
the first,
these.
page- the
These,
first,
so
okay.
they've kind of changed.
yeah, there's a whole bunch of these, yeah.
Between
So if you look through, there's,
So just going
so I have-
through.
okay, so,
It's just bleeding from one sheet to the other.
so if you look at all the there's always non-paid hours. And some of them are very significant,
This copy might be easier to see.
okay? So, all right, so each of these a pay period then,
A week, yeah.
a week, so this is. So this was, you have to explain why if you have 41.30 hours and you only get paid for 35, why does that, why aren't there any non-paid?
Because it's calculating it bi-weekly.
Oh,
So then it
calculate
goes to your
bi-weekly.
35 and then it starts
Okay.
calculating. Yeah,
So there's 1 week and then the bi-weekly.
right.
So there's 13.4 in this one, and then slightly small print,
I know, I'm sorry.
5 on that one, 5 on that one. I mean, it's just all, they're all 14.5, so. So in general, you're working between 43, here's a 41. Yeah,
Any chance that you could get all that work done in 40 hours?
I'm impressed.
You have
Uh,
to, like put in for 50 hours before we have to do it.
Right. No, I think it probably would be.
There's
closer
an
to
occasional
45
week
to
that you're under
50
40,
hours.
but most of them are well above that.
Um,
Anybody want to look at these with the highlights? It's so much easier to read.
I try to stay up to date on emails over the weekend because otherwise Mondays are very overwhelming. So I do generally check emails and such on the weekend just to try to stay on top of, anything crucial.
Yeah. So basically what, and this is not gonna get any better with SB 4, okay? This is just gonna continue to get worse. So I think it's time for us to suggest that Lori be moved to a 40-hour week or 35-hour week.
And her salary will come up.
We should adjust accordingly, right? And there's, so the way this works is that we can make the recommendation. Dr. Britton is the person who addresses the council on this, so he's the one, and so you'll need to describe clearly what's happened, why you're working more than 40 hours. You're not sitting here having coffee with us. You're doing work. And, explain what about your duties makes it so you really, you can't get it done in 35 hours. And then also make it very clear with SB4, it's just going to continue to get worse. There's no chances it's going to get any better in the future. So, and that's what Dr. Britton needs to do, right, Dr. Britton?
That's, hang on. I gotta turn on my, okay.
We can hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, it's a no-brainer. And I'll move to, request that to this board.
Yeah, will
To
that be it?
move Lori to full-time status at 40 hours per week.
And will you let us know when you are going before council so that many of us can show up to support you and Lori in that request?
Yeah, I'll be happy to go. I'm new enough at this that I don't know the process very well.
That's why you need us with you.
You will go to council, but we're asking for you to let us know when you are going to council with that request so that we can show up as a board and say,
Okay,
we support this in big way. We're here. And
Okay.
it has influence on the council.
so, when do they typically meet?
Friday morning.
Pardon me?
Council meeting Tuesday evenings,
It's what, every other week?
every other week.
Yeah, they wait Tuesdays every other week. I'm not sure when Lori knows when it's gonna be on the agenda, she can let us know.
Okay, so how do I propose an agenda item?
Yes, so,
Lori will take care of it.
well, I think he specifically,
Yeah, but you have to.
submits it. Yeah, so working with Molly and with Kim from the council office.
Right. And have you run this by Kim yet?
No, I have not, because I was told that, the health officer needs to work with her.
Okay, so but you're working on setting up a meeting with Molly and Kim soon, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so that's probably the format, just so we do it in a way that will be most favorable.
Correct.
I move second his motion. Oh, he's got a motion.
Oh, was that a real motion? Well,
Yeah, I made a motion.
Oh, he can't do it.
No, so it's a
No,
board,
no,
it's
so-
board activity, you can't do it.
Oh,
you're right.
well, I'll just
Sure.
shut
So-
up then.
I move
Okay,
to
and,
support the 35 to 40 hour.
And I second it.
okay, all in favor, say
All
aye.
right.
Aye.
Okay. So we passed that. All right, we're doing well. Anything else that you have for us, Lori, that pertains to this?
Not unless you have questions.
I'm gonna go shake down my meter, see if I can get some
Okay.
change.
But
Okay, so I have one question.
Yes,
I presume we have a quorum.
yes, we're all here. Gang's all here.
Okay, just double checking. So it's official. We have that
Oh, yeah.
official request from
Yes.
the board to go to the commissioners for a full-time
Yes.
pay equivalent for Lori, right?
Correct.
yes,
And these other changes that will also need to go to the commissioners.
Correct. And you and Lori,
Okay.
it's for you to do it, but you have Lori for support.
Yeah,
And then if
okay.
it happens, you let us know, as many of us can show up, we'll be there to help you.
Okay, so Lori, then you'll arrange to meet with Kim and Molly?
Yes, we are working on trying to coordinate a meeting time. Yes.
Okay, so my best times, just FYI, afternoons after 4, Tuesday afternoon from 1 o'clock, Thursdays and Fridays pretty much all day, other than this week, I'm going to a memorial in Des Moines, leaving Friday, so I won't be available Friday.
Okay. Yeah, because you have your office on Monday and Wednesday, right?
I do, yeah, pretty much all day.
Sorry to interrupt it today.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. I had a little bit of trouble because I have a new desktop computer and I thought I could log in from my desktop, but the darn thing doesn't have a camera, so I'm
That's
using
later.
my cell phone, so sorry about that.
Okay,
It worked.
You're here. We can see you, we
Well,
can hear you. All good.
Yeah, so that's, I guess that's the thing, right?
Yep.
Well, I
Okay,
appreciate you guys and your help.
so, perfect. And so any other business about
Yes.
the employees? We'll get the new business in a second. So, okay, anything else? Okay, now. we
So
can talk.
in new business,
Yes,
I would propose that we actually set a monthly meeting at a specific time so that all of us know and we can put it on our calendars. And that way we can cancel if there is no business, but we don't have to keep shifting around other appointments and other
Right.
obligations.
yeah, it has been a little crazy lately with all the stuff's going on. I'm anticipating things will settle down. We won't have to do this as much. The problem with schedule, I'm gonna talk to Lori here for a second. The problem with scheduling more frequent board meetings, it's a lot of work for Lori and Jamie to get a board meeting together. It's a lot of work. And so to just have one scheduled we work on the agenda, a week or 10 days ahead of time and so to work on that and then have the meeting canceled because we don't think there's enough stuff, it's a lot of work. I think monthly might be more than necessary. I personally have a problem. I could have them every other day for all I care. It doesn't bother me at all. But I think I'm trying to be sensitive to Lori and how much work it is to put a board meeting together.
I understand that, and we are going to have, because of SB4, we're going
Oh,
to
yeah.
have new people sitting here on the board.
Yeah.
SB4 is going to mean a lot of changes that we can't even begin to anticipate quite yet.
True.
We can see it, but we don't know. And to even imagine that we are going back to what you all think is normal of every quarterly
We don't
meeting
even know what normal is
is
anymore.
just, I think it's a pipe dream at this point.
That's-
And that we may be better off actually scheduling meetings and then getting to a point where we can wean and no longer have to do that, rather than, pop up emergency meetings.
Right,
I'm finding that really difficult to deal with in my schedule and all the other obligations I have.
yeah.
So,
It has been a challenge, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, we have, what I see going forward is a lot more work for this board than has been, but that has been what we're accustomed to. And part of that is that we really weren't probably doing all the things that, well, we definitely were doing all the things that we're supposed to do, but we really didn't in the past do those things. And and with SB4, I think probably having one meeting every 3 months probably isn't going to be adequate at all.
At least in the first year. for
Yeah.
sure.
So I would be inclined to agree that we need to have probably regularly scheduled board meetings. By regularly scheduled, I mean more frequent, at least for a while. And it has been totally chaotic.
Yeah, there's a lot of going on here that
In the last
with any
few
luck,
months.
it's not gonna happen again,
Yeah.
like just, yeah.
Well, it's been since I came on in November, so that's
So
7
That's
months.
about when it
That's a
started,
very
that's about
long
when it
time.
started,
Thank
honestly.
you, okay,
Yeah, that's
so I
about
am
when
to
it all
blame for
started.
all of this, I
Yeah,
understand.
you came on right when it all started, yeah.
Oh, so we
Yeah.
can blame Lori? That's a bad joke. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that, it's the transition, has been interesting and challenging, and I think what happened is that Lori doing all of her due diligence has uncovered a lot of things that were procedurally not updated. And so that's required a lot of input, and she's gotten a little bit of unfortunate feedback because of that. And which,
Mhm.
again, not her fault. She's fixing the
Right.
problem. She's finding problems and fixing problems. I just want to make that really clear.
Feedback and
And,
pushback.
yeah, and so there's been some
Sure.
misunderstandings along the way by various people in the county, not us, but, and so we've had to do things that have more meetings because of the pushback from various county officials. And I'm hoping at this point we have dealt with all that and resolved all that problem, which is great. I'm not talking about, this has to do with why we've been having all these ridiculous meetings. And I'd just like to point out, there've been a lot of meetings that y'all haven't been at,
Yeah.
that Steve and I have been.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
And there's been lots of other meetings that y'all don't even know about. So I'm hoping that but that part says that I totally agree that with SB4, we don't know what's gonna happen,
And we don't know how much more oversight there will be of
right?
all of these policies that are
Yeah.
being put into place that we need to be on top of.
Correct.
And so as a board, I just think it makes more sense to be ahead of it rather than behind it trying to catch up.
And I agree. I do have a question for the three of you who reviewed the SB4. As if you would be willing to continue to stay engaged in that
Yeah,
and maybe go to some of these meetings that they're with council and the commissioners that, that the whole board is, and then, and bring, and put it on an agenda item every single board meeting, an update of what's going on with that, to make sure the board stays
I think we
informed,
need, I think.
just
we
as a
need to do
permanent
that.
agenda item at this point.
And I would ask. this,
Under old
is-
business.
Is there
As it gets rolled
something,
out.
is there, could you guys suggest something? I was unfortunately gone, out of town during, when this first happened. And I was not in attendance at the SB4 explanation, the meeting that was online that we had. Is there something that, I could read?
You got the slides, right?
There's some.
Oh, well,
great
that's true.
The slides are good.
The PowerPoints are wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just read it.
We were overtaken by events, so
Yeah.
we didn't write a report. So-
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so, but I would request that as an old business agenda, Jamie would just put this on the agenda. And for the three of you to report every time we have a meeting, to keep us up to date, and then obviously Lori will have a lot of stuff to say about it too. And then if you need to interface with the board, you will interface with them, because you can do that with the three members, since it's not a quorum.
Mhm.
And if that would work for y'all,
sure. I don't know.
okay,
And I was asked at a meeting that we had to give whatever assistance Lori would like of me in thinking through SB4 things and the budget, and I'm happy to do that.
yeah, and you have a lot of experience in public health with how some of these things work, so you, yeah, this is like,
Bureaucratic.
some of this flies right over my head, because,
That's-
I'm a doctor, what do I know? And, so, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of historical knowledge for what's going on in the
Right,
health
right, right,
department, but with all these changes and all this legislative stuff, sometimes it's like a different language for me.
Right.
And, so that'd be awesome if you guys would do that, that'd be great.
So
So
was
back to
there a resolution for the meeting?
Huh?
Is that where you're going for the meeting? How often we're gonna meet?
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's my next, so
Gotcha.
my question is monthly? I mean, I don't really care. I mean, we were doing every week, every 2 week meetings
I
forever,
move
so.
that we hold a monthly health board meeting that is set for a specific day and time from now until we don't need to anymore.
So it'd be a Thursday at 5, I think is the best time, because if we get, well,
Why five?
because if hopefully we'll get a younger,
Historically, we were 4:30.
well, because,
Right.
I tell you what, because our new member, assuming the commissioners ever decide to get us a new member.
But we will not have another position. That's
So,
not requirements
Oh,
of
no,
the
no.
SB4.
I'm not licensed,
Yeah, I am.
I know.
So we only are required to have one licensed physician.
Okay, well, having said that, I think there
is a requirement of different people that we have to have on the board.
I know. However,
And
I
I
think
think
we currently have 4 physicians who have filled out applications for the vacant position that Bob Brand left. Right now, since SB4 is not in effect, we do have to have 2 licensed physicians. Right now, today. Okay, we're talking about today. All right, so, right now, we have 4 physicians who have filled out applications for that position.
For a 1 month position,
Well, no, it'll be a longer, it'll be whatever.
not according to SB4. I'm just saying it has.
Are you telling me when
specific
SB4 comes, we all lose our positions and the board just?
No, I'm telling you that it has specific requirements for specific seats to be filled by specific people. That's the way I remember reading it.
But when I read it, it had a little more flexibility than that,
Mm,
but then. Anyway, my point being is, I mean, whatever, there are 4 physicians who have applied for Dr. Ren's position. And the commissioners just haven't done anything about it yet. So,
And I think.
but
that
the reason
my
I said,
understanding is that it's because they think it's for a month and that, you know, to appoint somebody and then, you know, have them booted,
Yeah,
Does it
well,
make a whole
the
lot of
reason that was changed to 5 is because everybody that applied was a practicing physician. We're just trying to. We used to be at 7 o'clock, okay?
There's no rule that
I
require,
remember
that,
that.
that precludes 2 physicians, right?
I think what I remember reading,
There's a certain number.
yeah,
That
that
you
there's like
can't go
one
above,
physician and
and-
one pharmacist and one something else. I mean, they were really
Yeah, we'd have to
specific
find
about
it.
who
They were
needs to be
very
sitting on the
specific,
board.
But I also
I mean,
can't
my
imagine
position.
they expect us
A
to
veterinarian
meet this
somewhere
on
there.
July first.
I
I
don't
mean,
think so
I
either.
have a feeling there's going to be some,
There's a flexibility there.
yeah.
So anyway, that's why I said 5 is because. Potentially, if they ever decide to fill Dr. Ren's position with one of these 4 physicians who have applied, that they are all practicing physicians.
So they need to work till 5.
Yes, and I explained to every one of them when they applied that they would have to come to meetings, that meetings are required. But I explained this to all of them before they applied, so. And I told them Thursdays at 5 o'clock.
So if we pick like the second Thursday of every month, let's say at 5 o'clock,
Whatever.
and just get it set up that way, then we'll know when it is. Hopefully, the public notice part of it and the administrative, the things that you guys have to do will be made easier.
Because we'll be doing it more
You're
frequently.
always-
Yeah, and also if you have, if we can develop a really good template for the agenda. Where it's always the same thing every single time, that really helps a little bit too. So I'm just looking at the calendar here for a second. So our current July meeting, where's my July go? That's the wrong year. Good Lord. Let's go back to this year. Okay, this July, our meeting is on
The 20th.
the 20th. That would be the 3rd. So the 3rd Monday or Thursday in June would be the 15th. I will not be here, but you can handle it. I can zoom in. I will be someplace where I can zoom in. I have nothing that evening.
You'll teleport.
Hmm?
You'll teleport.
I will, that's right. I'll pretend like I'm here. And I could actually do it. Because that, yeah. And that would be in 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks. So that's,
So you're proposing the 3rd Thursday of every month at 5 p.m. Is that what we're saying?
and that helps around holidays and that works. The 3rd Thursday is a good day. The 3rd, what do you think? Good? Yeah?
I think it sounds fine.
Anybody have any problem with that?
That would be the 20th.
And as far as I'm concerned, we could continue meeting at 4:30 until we have somebody who can't meet at 4:30. That's something we have to be flexible about, is if we have, people who actually work during the day, which we don't at the moment. We have to be flexible about the time to help them out. Well, there's a couple of reasons. We used to be at 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, every, quarter. We moved earlier because again, nobody had serious day jobs. And plus we did it earlier so that the staff didn't have to stay until 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So we moved them earlier to make it easier for the staff, which I assuming you appreciate.
Come back for-
Yeah, so you didn't have to stay till 9 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
So that's why we moved it earlier. And then as we got less and less people working and we met more and more often, we did it earlier and earlier. And that's how we ended up.
I thought last meeting, we said this meeting was gonna be at 5 o'clock, so.
Yeah, so-
I apologize.
I don't care what time we do it. You pick a time. I don't care what time we doing it.
Let's do it. Let's
5
do it.
o'clock.
I was gonna say, let's do it, keep it at 4:30 until we have to change. So
Okay,
I like keeping it at 4:30 till we have
Yeah.
to change.
got it.
Okay,
So
so it'll be
Thursday at 4:30.
July the 20th at 4:30.
No, June
And
15th.
June
Until-
15th.
Until we have to
And
change.
then July.
But we do have to be sensitive about people who have real
Before
jobs.
July.
And really, I want to get some younger people like, Aurora. She's younger than the rest of us.
I know, I was gonna say, I'm usually the oldest person in the room.
Yeah,
now, not here.
not here. The young one here. But I do want to, I think it's important that we get some younger people on the board. True?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't think we have to vote. We just have somebody just applied. So there's no vote there.
Okay.
Okay, any other new business?
Hearing none.
Hearing none. Oh,
I would move to adjourn.
thank you.
Second?
Okay, we're done.